But that ended up being one of our better ones, which sort of went, okay, this is something that we really should do. And I think the next logical step was to talk about your cancer diagnosis and what we went through. And again, I think that provided a lot of great insights into both people with cancer and people who've never had it but know someone who has.
Send us a message. I forgot about this.
I tell you what, there was something really special about our very first episode launching with the story of how I peed myself on the way to Florida. It's like, oh boy, I'm really laying myself bare out there for the world, aren't I?
So I want to say that as much as it's the most difficult one that I personally have recorded with you, it is, it might be my favorite so far. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We're back again.
We're back.
Thank you to everybody for watching us. The channel is growing and growing.
It is.
But you know what? Gosh, this is our season finale.
Our season finale. We've got a full season under our belts, and it's been a wild ride.
You know, to think, Austin, that this started with a conversation about your mental health.
Yep.
And what if we were to start doing this? Would this help your journey a little bit more? And we're actually now filming our season finale.
I know. And I'll say this, like, that was a talk of...
Wow.
From my perspective, honestly, it came out of nowhere, where you just came up to me and you're like, listen, we've got this company that we work with for our photo shoots, for ads, for videos.
Yeah.
What if they have a podcast booth? What if we started a podcast?
Would that help you?
And I was like, really? You want to do a podcast?
Well, here we are. So this is our season finale,
Yep.
but this is also the final week, where big thanks to Jam Boutique for donating the diffuser that says Live, Laugh, Love. Oh,
Yep.
Austin, you know I do love me this.
Yep, we've got some oil to come with it. We've got a little spray here. One last time.
Okay, let's just take it. Oh, I love me a good scent. I love it.
That'll be the last time we can cherish it, because it's time to finally give it away.
We did our draw. So just to recap, and again, we have people that are so loyal to watch us every week. Bear with us, because we do have to remind everybody on how you can win these amazing things that these companies
Three simple steps.
Right.
Like, comment on any one of our videos, and subscribe to the channel.
That's all you gotta
That's
do.
it.
3.
Yep.
We're not even asking to share, although there will be a little thing that will come up and pop up right about here.
Right here, exactly where she's
that
pointing.
says ding, ding, ding,
Yep.
share. So we did our draw, and I am thrilled to announce that Joe and Terry Davies have won. Yay!
Congratulations.
This package, we will reach out to you so that we can get this to you.
Yep.
Thank you so much for the comments and for the loyalty in following this podcast. Now, as of last week and this week, we have, and you're going to see their logo floating around.
Right here.
We have, Austin, $100 gift certificate. $100 gift certificate.
Who would be kind enough to donate a $100 gift card?
The Oak and the Ale Pubs.
The Oak and the Ale.
The Oak and the Ale
course.
Pubs. So thank you so much for sponsoring us and for helping out doing this giveaway. That is a phenomenal night out.
Absolutely.
Maybe for somebody's first date.
First date.
Anniversary.
Birthday. Mother's Day is coming up.
Mother's Day was last week.
We'll cut
Mother's
that out.
Day was last week. But you know what? What a great place to take. They've got 2 pubs, North Whitby and South Whitby.
Yeah.
So kudos. Thank you so much. You know what you got to do. We're not going to remind you anymore.
Rules are exactly the same.
Rules are the same, and thank you to the Oaken Ale. They're a fantastic place to eat. Fantastic. So with that, Kit, let's get into it.
We're here. We're for our season finale. We thought it might be a good idea to just sort of look back on some of the things we've talked about, what we've been through since then.
And a recap.
Yeah, a recap, exactly. Yep. And some of our thoughts on some of the highlights of what we've talked about. So I know that, honestly, what comes to me, and I think the big thing is early on, we were doing a lot of slice of life, of just sort of discussing little fun things that happen in our lives here and there, sort of introducing people to us. I think the big shift in this season was probably when we decided to talk about my mental health journey.
That was an episode that if you guys haven't watched, I encourage you to. That so far I think is one of our most watched. The reel that went out, now I'm going by numbers that were last week, when you talked about the night that you almost ended it all. That was our most watched reel, thousands and thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
So I think I've told you this. I have listened to that podcast quite a few times. I'll put it on when I'm driving to show houses and so forth. And the reason that I continue to listen to it through audio is even though, I certainly lived it with you.
Right.
I listen to it because I'm listening very carefully to your words, to how you describe, to how you talk about how you were feeling.
Yeah.
And it's sad to relive it as your mom for sure. And if you've watched the episode, you would see me kind of choke up a few times.
Yeah.
But as I listen, each time I listen to it, I continue to grow prouder and prouder and prouder. And so proud. I'm proud of all the work that we've done through these podcasts, the episodes. But I am so proud of how far you've come since that day. So I want to say that as much as it's the most difficult one that I personally have recorded with you, it is, it might be my favorite so far.
I would say, yeah, I love the fun stuff we do, and we've always wanted this to be a nice slice of life podcast with some serious thrown into it. And I think in terms of that, I think we really succeeded with that episode. I mentioned it there, and I'll mention it again straight up. That's a period of my life that I typically don't like to talk about because it's the lowest part of my life. It's the point where I was like, is any of this worth it anymore? And a lot of my mind was saying no. But as I talk about it, every time I do, I sort of am able to look back at it more and more with greater and greater understanding of A, what was going through my mind at the time, B, what sort of led to that point, which was a lot of me trying to push it down and try to ignore it, which obviously just made it worse and worse and worse, and C, how I can avoid falling into that in the future. Because now I really understand where my headspace was at. And I know a lot more of why I get like that and what causes me to go like that. So in the future, when those signs pop up, I'm able to handle them a lot more effectively.
I think, as much as your mother and watching you through that journey and being shocked and right by your side through every step of your journey, I look at it I look at it as there's a blessing there. Mm-hmm. And the reason that I say that is because, clearly you got into therapy right away.
Yeah.
That also gave the diagnosis of your social anxiety.
The poster child.
You know what I mean? But I think, it ended up, there were so many reasons why you are here today through a lot of hard work and the process. So, comment, let us know what your favorite episodes were and if that one resonated. And we did mention as well that we do get people that have reached out to us, people that we don't know in our community here on YouTube on this channel that say, this hit home for me. And that was the reason why you said to me, I think it's time I share what I've gone through. So I'm glad you like that too, because it's something that you have to be proud of, knowing how hard it was for you to do this.
Obviously, it wasn't an easy episode, and we decided early on that, this is going to be a special we're going to do. We're going to just have that be as long as it needs to be, because it wasn't an episode we wanted to split up. It felt like a story that needed to be told in its full. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in the end, I think that was for the best, because I think some of our best serious back and forth came from that. And I can't speak for you, but it was also nice to be able to sort of answer those questions about what the headspace is of someone going through depression, like what signs there might be for someone to look out for. It's a good feeling to be able to answer those questions for people that maybe don't know how to deal with it, because it's a tough thing to deal with. Even when you're not the person suffering it, if you know someone who is, you want to know what the best way is to help someone, and that may not be immediately obvious, because again, someone's mind is their own worst enemy, and it's tough to fight against that. It just is. But there are ways, and I hope that I was able to provide at least a little bit of insight into what that's like and what people can do is my big hope above all, I guess.
And also you have to continue to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. As much as doing that episode, was to shed some light on the fact that it can happen anytime, any place, anywhere. It doesn't need to be a genetic thing. You also have to continually take care of your journey. And, every day, not that I want this to be an entire episode about that particular podcast.
No, we'll move on from that.
But every day, Austin and I can't speak for your dad and your brother, but Austin and I, we do a check-in daily on where you're at with your journey, because you have had a few not good days, right? So it's a never-ending process, and it's a process that I am blessed to be your mother and be by your side, and to be that pillar of support to kind of keep sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, hopefully a ray of sunshine. I know that's not always the case. I think a lot of other episodes that we've done that I particularly enjoyed was, talking a little bit about what you were like and your brother was like growing up.
Yeah.
We did a little bit of the funny stories about some trips that we took. And I've got to tell you behind the scenes, everybody, that as we... as Andrew, because he's not been able to come on yet due to some difficult time restraints.
Yeah.
He'll kind of be like, "Oh my goodness, as he's watching it on Mondays, he'll send us a message. I forgot about this. What about this?"
There was something really special about our very first episode launching with the story of how I peed myself on the way to Florida. It's like, oh boy, I'm really laying myself bare out there for the world, aren't I?
Our family loved it.
Oh, I bet.
Reliving it was funny, but that was good. What was some of your memorable in a recap for our viewers?
Well, a lot of the episodes, like you said, are stories from us growing up, things we've been through. And I'll talk a little bit about some of my favorites in a bit, but what I also liked is when we decided to play games with each other, which we did in a couple ways. First off, there was our second episode where you and I played Donkey Kong together.
Yep.
That might have been one of the hardest I had laughed during our times recording the podcast because it was so fun watching you play.
Donkey Kong, the cart?
Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, that was bullshit.
We were working together.
I don't know, but this cooperative.
We beat a level together.
We did.
But it was so fun because that was something we did a bit as kids of us playing games together.
For sure.
And we hadn't done that in a very long time.
It was really cool.
It was really nice to play side by side with you again. But it wasn't just that. You also came up with the idea of doing a couple games that involved us guessing each other's favorite things. We did a whole episode about music. We did a whole episode about colors, movies, fears, things like that. I got to talk about why dolls are the goddamn worst.
Oh my God. Chucky. And bats. When that episode aired, because Andrew and Nicole watch it on Mondays. They come home from work, and that's every time we drop an episode, just so you guys know, every Monday.
They get home from dinner, they watch it.
That was the episode, and my WhatsApp is going off the charts, right? And Andrew was like, "Oh my God, I would have said thunderstorms. I forgot about bats." And it was. Ooh,
I don't think anyone in our family outside of maybe Dad really liked thunderstorms when we were growing up. I think all of us were like, when it came to them.
We talked about this in one of the episodes. I almost feel like my fear kind of spread on the two of you.
You had thought
Not that, if a thunderstorm happened, I made everybody climb into a closet. It wasn't like that. I tried my best to be... It's okay. But I think you could sense that I was like in my skin going, oh my God.
Yeah, so when 3 of the 4 members of our family at the time are like, thunderstorms aren't the greatest, there's only so much you can do.
Oh my goodness, I tried. Yeah, there's definitely things that I would have probably tried harder not to live the fears. But I feel like an important episode for me, because we've always said that we would be transparent and, our family is no different than anybody else's. There's high highs and low lows. And I think that the 3 of us together, the 4 of us, because Nicole was part of us as well when I went through my cancer.
Yes.
The cancer episode was a difficult one for me to kind of talk about. But I've listened to it as well a few times since then, to make sure. I don't even know why. I don't even know, but I have. And I did receive, and I want to thank a lot of our viewers. I did receive some people that have our cell phone numbers text me and say, I've just watched it, and, wow. You're so strong. And I certainly didn't feel strong going through it.
There was a great response to that episode, and it got a lot of people really invested. And I think when we were going into my mental health episode, we were sort of, I don't know, I was a bit unsure about it at first. There was a lot of going back and forth on what the best way to handle it was and whether it would resonate or not. But that ended up being one of our better ones, which sort of went, okay, this is something that we really should do. And I think the next logical step was to talk about your cancer diagnosis and what we went through. And again, I think that provided a lot of great insights into both people with cancer and people who've never had it but know someone who has, on what's going through someone's mind on ways to best handle it. Why just saying, oh, you'll be fine, maybe not the best thing to say.
Please don't say that. It'll be okay. Yeah.
In the same vein as telling someone with depression, just do something you like.
Just go outside.
Oh, cool, I'm cured. Thanks, I never thought of that.
We're doing this, my son, to share our journeys, good, bad, and ugly. But we're, if we can provide a little bit of insight on the do's and don'ts, and vice versa, if anybody can provide us some insight. Everybody's journey is a little
different. These are our perspectives, and we'd always want to hear other ones because that's the way we learn and we grow, by hearing different perspectives from different people.
Yeah.
We're not the be-all and end-all of how to handle depression and cancer. We're two people who've dealt with that and have our own thoughts. So the more we hear of other people's thoughts, the more we grow.
The more we grow, for sure.
Yeah.
We've also, had some episodes where we just sort of talked about our business.
Yep.
We aren't sharing a lot about our real estate business because there's a lot of real estate podcasts out there.
There's a lot of real estate podcasts, yeah. And sort of from the beginning, we were like, we didn't want this to be a business real estate podcast. We'll talk about it, but we'd never wanted that to be the focus, I guess.
I have a very strong business mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think anybody that knows me would agree. So when I approached this with you, because as we said at the beginning of the episode, you were having a little bit more dark days.
Yeah.
Not that they were every day. That's not the case. But
I was coming off of a bad stretch.
I knew that you needed some light. I knew that you thrive with your voiceover acting and your artistic spirit. So, this production company that we use for our social media had just built a podcast room. And that's where the idea sort of came to mind. And even though we're both realtors, I felt like there was enough real estate podcasts out there.
Yeah.
And for me to do this with my children, and of course your brother is included in this, we talked to him and said, would you be part of this as well whenever you can?
Yeah.
I knew that this needed to be more than just real estate.
Right.
I wanted people to see a mother and her son, a mother and her son's dynamic that were pretty quirky and weird and funny. And yes, we can talk about business because that is part of who we are.
Right.
But there's so much out there. And I'm going to be honest. Not that I'm not honest. My personality is very different than most. I'm much, and this could be a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm much more empathetic. Mm-hmm. Sometimes than I think is even good for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And from a very young age, I always felt like I was here to kind of help others. I always felt like, did I come into this world to be a complete caretaker? So that part of my personality, maybe it's good, maybe it's a bad, to be so empathetic, came into play when we were talking about this podcast. Mm-hmm. What do people need?
Right.
What do they need? And what can you and I, as very unique individuals, do to help people smile? Right. And for me, and you agreed, if you would have thought differently, I would have been on board with whatever you think. We knew that having a real estate-based podcast was not going to really entertain people. Right. We are open to answer anybody's questions about real estate. I mean, I started in the business in 1991. Yeah. I'm definitely seasoned.
Yeah.
But that's not what we wanted to give people a little bit of everything.
You might even say we wanted to talk about laughing through life with a mom and her son.
That's all we're doing, man.
Yeah. So here's a question I have for you. What was something you think you learned about me, whether it be a story or just something in general, while we've been recording this podcast? Because I know something I've learned about you, and I want you to answer first.
Okay.
So
first of all, there's more than one.
Sure.
And I feel like as I listen while I'm driving to some of our podcasts through the audio, sometimes you catch a little bit more.
Yeah.
There are a couple of things. First of all, oh my God. That your favorite color is, oh crap.
Did you learn it? Did you?
Oh my God, right now. Okay, I feel like your favorite color now is blue.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but originally I think I said it was orange, but it was yellow. Right?
You guessed orange, and when I was a kid, it was yellow.
All right.
Yeah.
The second, which you and I have not talked about at all, and when we filmed the episode about your mental health journey, this particular camera, the edit wasn't as much on my face, so it was our middle camera. And maybe that was meant to be, because when you were reliving that night that you almost took your life, and we're reliving it again because you were describing it. And even though you came and got me and I lived it with you, for some reason, Austin, and I believe it's because during that particular time, I was going through it with you and, okay, I got to help my kid. I got to help my kid, got to help. I think I remembered it slightly different. So I thought when you came into my room, and I think this is just my memory had lapsed, I thought you were about to go get the pills. Now, and when you were describing it to me, or not describing it, reliving it, not to me, but to our viewers that day, you had said you went down and had the pills in your hand first. And I had remembered it differently. So while we were going through that episode, in my mind, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you 100% as you're talking about it. But in my mind, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I didn't say that to you at all after that.
No, you didn't.
I called my friend Angela when we were in the car on the way home, and I'm like, oh my God, Angela, he had them in his hand. Maybe he told me that night, but for some reason I remembered that you were on your way to get it and you got me first. So,
yeah.
That's it.
It was a tense moment for sure.
Yeah. So that's what I learned.
All right. Well, on a slightly less emotional note.
Lighter note.
I learned that you stabbed a dude in school.
Oh, shit. Oh my God. I totally forgot about that episode. First of all,
if Donkey Kong was the second hardest I laughed during the podcast, that would probably be the hardest I laughed.
You know what? If we could have a blooper reel, because sitting in our podcast room is usually two people. We have somebody on the cameras, and then we have another one that's got the headphones on and running the mics and the audio. And I remember when first of all, it wasn't a knife. I didn't, I'm not, right?
Yeah,
it was a pencil. I was in grade 3. But when I said that, when you actually said you stabbed someone, if you guys could have seen the reaction behind the cameras, they both burst out laughing and they were like falling off their chairs because I just feel like, anyhow, but yeah. Anyways, I was in grade 3. It was because I was being teased mercifully.
Didn't you say he got lead poisoning?
Okay, so we're really going watch the episode. Yeah, he did for 2 years. He had to get shots and needles. But again. Okay, that was grade 3, and yes,
he shouldn't have been teasing you.
Oh, he was teasing me so bad. So, and here's the deal with Tara. I will tell you to stop. I even as a grown woman, if something is happening that's, something, I'll say, please stop doing that.
Right.
So, I mean, he had a lot of warnings, a lot of warnings at that table in our grade 3, but we're friends. We're friends on Facebook.
It's all better now.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Anyhow, okay. You had to bring that up.
That's definitely the top of one of my funniest moments, because I was so not prepared for that. that.
Yeah, you know what? It's so funny. You think that, when you're raising your children, that you tell them all the funny stories along the way, and I certainly by no means, as I started telling that story and I saw your face, I'm like, I don't think I've ever told my kids this.
Crap, he doesn't know.
Shoot, okay, I actually have something.
So I'd say that's probably the funniest moment, and definitely something I learned about you while we were recording.
Yeah.
What would you say, if you had to guess, your funniest moment of the podcast was? Like, I know the blooper we had when we were doing our final read in one of the recent episodes. That was really good.
Oh, that was funny. I get very frustrated if I can't do something correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And those last outro lines, as much as we love them, I love them, Laughing Through Life with a Mom and Her Son.
Yeah.
I know, it's so good. But for some reason, when we're doing the outro, I stumble over it. And this particular one, it all came out. I'm like,
collapsed.
I can't believe I'm making these people do another edit, and then we just sort of said, leave it in.
You were laughing so hard. I was laughing so hard. Producer Dan was dying in the corner. So I think I was like, no, we're keeping that. That's the outro.
Like, okay, let me just swear like a trucker. That's it. I'm done. I can't believe it. But there's been a lot of really funny ones. I think where I really probably laughed the most was when we were doing, I think it was episode 1, and we were talking about when you peed your pants in the car. I mean, you were like 8 years old. But, again, this is an interesting thing about our memory. We're reliving it. And then there was that one part where you said, Mom, what I remember was Dad saying to everybody as we were kind of coming close to a McDonald's or something, anybody got to go to the bathroom? And he said, Mom, you said no. Andrew said no. I said yes. And boom. And when you said that, I died, Austin, because I was like, oh, shoot, that is exactly what happened.
Yeah. I tell you what, with those embarrassing stories, I think it goes with this way with a lot of our stories, where there's certain things you remember about it very vividly, and there's certain things I remember about it very vividly that just sort of come together.
It's cool to put them all together, right? It's really cool.
Yeah, that is the one thing that always stuck with me of that story is like, oh, it could have been avoided.
Well, you know what? I mean, you live through it. I love this. I hope that we've given everybody, a reason to kind of go back and watch some of them, because, our seasons are 12 episodes at a time. And I'm very grateful to be doing this. And, from somebody that truly does understand that life is very short. And that's because of my cancer journey. That's also because of your mental health journey. We could have lost you that night. And I think that the more content that we create, the more our entire family will have to look back on. And that's always going to be my hope. I talk about this all the time when I used to teach and train realtors, is never lose sight of your why. Everybody's why is different. Some people's why might be because, they're doing what they're doing so they can vacation and they can retire early. And, you got a little something happening here through the whole, he's doing this through the whole podcast. My why is always to help provide and for you and your brother and your future children. And not that, this is about money. That's not why we're doing this, but right. I never lose sight of that. So everything I do is designed with a benefit, whatever that is, even if it's just watching this years later.
I mean, listen, we're on YouTube. Obviously we do want to grow. Like we said, our goal is 1,000. We're going to start there. We're aiming for it. But even with that, even with the talks we have before episodes of, okay, what are some good things we could talk about? What would people maybe enjoy? when we're in this booth and when we're recording, honestly, the only thing that's going through my mind is how much I'm enjoying doing this in the moment. Because when we're in this booth and when we're recording, it's usually the highlight of my week. Every time we're in this booth, just you and me going back and forth, because it's so much fun. It's so much fun, and I love doing it, and I love I love that people seem to love that we're doing it. We've gotten a lot of great feedback and good response to some of these episodes. A lot of the shorts have blown up, and the channel is growing.
I love doing this with you. I will love it when your brother's able to come on too.
Yep.
And Nicole. I think going further, just to give everybody of what we've got planned, none of these episodes are scripted.
No.
None. We have got other sponsors that have asked to be part of our podcast. Yep. I think for next season, we're going to talk about a little bit more about some of the things that we've experienced. There are some things that I've gone through in my lifetime that we're going to share.
Yep.
There's going to be people that we're going to invite on as well and have some guests.
Yep.
So we're looking forward to season 2.
Absolutely.
So with that.
In the meantime, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in for our first season. Thanks to the Oak and Nail for sponsoring. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. It'll get you entered to win a $100 gift card.
Yep.
And we look forward to hopefully seeing all of you in the start of our second season.
And with that, let's move on.
We're out.
We're out.
The episodes you've just seen in season 1 were just a warm-up.
We have so much in store for season 2.
So stay tuned for This Crazy Life podcast, season 2. With Austin Bayless and my co-host, Tara Bayless.
Did he just say co-host?
Well, I mean, that's the arrangement we had, I thought I was the host, you were the co-host.
You thought you were the host?
I mean, I have the big dramatic voice. I thought it felt better
because you got the dramatic voice?
Well, I mean...
Okay. You know what? This Crazy Life podcast, hosted by Tara Bayless, co-hosted with her son, Austin.
Yeah, I don't know if that sounds right.
Don't think so?
No. I think we had it better.
We're going to rework the contract?